Hey there, welcome, good morning, good afternoon, Real Success Nation. This is Coach Bill Pipes coming at you as always, alive, excited, and full of energy. Hey, it's September. We're in the home stretch. This is the push, guys. This is, really the last quarter of business is upon us right now. And before we start setting up 2017, and here I just got one question for you because we just had our summit and everyone was so excited in their warrior spirit and just, committed to an amazing finish. Are you primed? Are you ready? Are you doing everything that you possibly can to make September to remember, and October that actually is dynamic, and a November that creates massive momentum into 2017 into the holidays? And if not, okay, what are you waiting on? Because, agents are back. August was August, but now it's the home stretch. It's the push. It's the opportunity for you to really set yourself up for a great finish, but more importantly, for an amazing 2017, because we're going to blink and it's going to be upon us, guys. So today I have such a great privilege to actually interview this young man, and Mr. Ed Converse. And Ed and I were sitting back in Summit. They're sitting in the green room, and he was getting ready to be one of our panelists. And we just hit it off and had such a wonderful conversation. And Ed is unique. Ed is like, this isn't his first rodeo. This is his fourth or fifth career that he has done. And not because he hasn't succeeded in the others. It's because he's been on this darn planet for a long, long time. And is cycled into real estate and is just having a phenomenal year. And so when I got the chance to talk to Ed, I said, gosh, man, we have got to bring you onto Real Success because you're an inspiration in terms of what you're doing. So it is with my great privilege and honor that I get to introduce you to my good friend and someone that honest to goodness, man, just inspires the heck out of me, Mr. Ed Converse. Ed, say hello to Real Success Nation, brother.
Hello to Real Success Nation. I'm honored by that introduction, Bill. I'm just excited to be here and thrilled that you asked me. So,
brother, you have earned it in many ways. So, Ed, I want to start with just the obvious question. How old are you?
How am I?
How old are you?
Oh, how old am I? Well, let me say first that I saw a quote today that I'd like to throw in at this point, okay? It said, the people around me that are my own age are so much older than I am. And I'm 76 years old.
76 years old.
Yes, yeah. And
where do you sell, brother? What's your marketplace?
My marketplace is north of Atlanta. Downtown Atlanta, primarily North Atlanta, some of the far north counties, which is a little bit more rustic kind of area. But from the very beginning, I sell any place in Georgia.
Any place in Georgia. Excellent.
Any place in Georgia, yeah.
Yeah. How long have you been in the business, bud?
I went into business 9 years ago. I went in when the market had tanked, and I was surrounded by agents that did nothing but moan and groan about problems. So I immediately said I wasn't going to participate in that type of a problem. I was going to be successful right away.
So like at a time when people are thinking about retiring, you make a decision, and one of the toughest, Atlanta took it right on the chin during 2007, 2008. It really was one of ground zero in terms of the downturn in the market. So what made you decide to get into real estate? This is your fourth career. How many careers have you had?
I've actually had about 5 careers, but what made me go into real estate was I felt it would be a good way and a quick way to make some extra money. We raised one of our grandchildren. We wanted to put him through college debt-free. We succeeded in doing that. He's a very successful businessman today. And I didn't know that the market was so bad until they started telling me it was bad. So if I'd known, I might not have gone into it, but I didn't know, and I didn't participate in that. I told you a story about my very first sale.
Yeah, tell us. Yeah, please.
Okay. It was, I was in a sales meeting. The broker came in and they had a lead for a $50,000 home in an area of Georgia that I'd never heard of. Okay. So I said, well, I'll take it. Nobody else wanted it. So I took it. What happened was the lady that was involved called, I called her. She said she wanted to pick out 5 HUD homes. When she did, she would call me. I'd go show them the homes and we would buy one. 2 days later, she called. She had 5 homes. I drove down to, it turned out it was about 2 hours away from where I live. I had no idea where I was going. The 4th house we looked at, she said, let's go ahead and buy this one. So I started writing a contract. I had never written a contract up to this point. And while we were writing it, the mother came up, tapped me on the shoulder and said, my daughter's going to kill me for asking you this. And I immediately thought, she doesn't like the house. What she said was, I have a daughter and her husband, another daughter and her husband. They're interested in buying a home and they're looking at it right now. They're in front of it and they want to know if you'll show it to them while you're here. So when I went home, I had 2 contract offers, one on a $50,000 HUD home, one on a $190,000 ranch, and they both sold about 30 days later. That was my first transaction business. I've had 4 referrals from those people since that time. So much for the thought of a bad market, right? Absolutely, absolutely. I had my own little good market. Everybody else can have their poor, low market. Yeah.
Awesome. So your goal this year, I mean, last year you sold 11 homes, right?
That's correct.
Sold 11 homes. Right now you're at 18. I think we were talking about. You're at 18 closed so far year to date. Right. What's the goal for this year?
The rest, I'm going to close with 30 transactions, 30 closings. I'm going to be a 5X for income wise. And I've got, you know, I said after the summit, I did my first referral out to an opportunity over in Alabama. It's a multi-million-dollar land sale. So I'm going to get a very substantial referral commission from that business. And I expect, like I say, to finish, I like to say $250,000 rather than 200,000.
Nice. I love it. And you already, I think it's interesting because you're pacing right now to have, you know, 240% growth, to go from 11 to 24 is the pace right now, even though I know you'll hit 30. I know you will.
Right.
But you're already 3 times the income. You've already like tripled your income. How has that happened, man? How have you?
There were a couple things that happened. To begin with, I have a coach. And I tell everybody I talk to, if they say, what's the secret? The secret's the coach. I kind of was waiting for business to come to me. My business was a hobby, really, even though I did fairly well some of those years. But I needed somebody to be accountable to. I needed somebody to share ideas with. I needed somebody to tell me how to do things. And, you know, one of the 2 things happened. I had my realtor.com. I get a lot of business there. I was also, at that point in time, on a team. And the team leads I got were selling leads. And I just kind of waited till one came in. One of the things I attacked early on was for sale by owners. I heard Tom say, I think it was Tom that said it at the, we were watching the live view of the summit last year. For sale by owners really stood, FSBO really meant first selling business opportunity, fastest selling business opportunity.
That's right.
Okay,
fastest selling business opportunity. There it is, baby.
So with the help of my coach, I put together a 45-day follow-up plan for FSBOs. And the very first guy that I called, I had to leave a message. And so I left a voice message. And then when I finished, I put my iPhone up and I did a little video, which I've gotten pretty good at, actually. Took me a little while to get used to what I looked like on there, but I use them a lot. At any rate, after I sent that video, 2 minutes later, the phone rang and it was a guy on the other end. And he said, the guy had just left a message. And he said, I'm really impressed with that video and stuff, but I'm not ready to list my home. So I said, that's fine. Is it okay if we communicate? And so I put together the plan. I started working with him. 3 weeks ago, we listed a $725,000 home, which was, you know, so far my highest listing. I get a kick out of some of the people from California on the Facebook page. You know, they say I did my first $3.4 million listing today. I'm looking forward to that, but it's not going to happen anytime too soon, I think.
I can't wait to see that happen. So, hey, you know, one of the key things, Ed, that I like to do is I really, as you know, and we were talking about this, I really like to leave and provide for the listeners, you know, some specific strategies that they can use to succeed. And when I look at your business model, I mean, for sell by owners, obviously, is one of them. And then online lead generation is the other. I mean, here you are, 76 years old, crushing it at online lead generation. So I want to lean on those 2. Okay, I want to lean on those 2 pillars. So For sell by owners, fastest source of business opportunity. What have you found is like 2, 3 critical things that you do that gives you such success with the for sale by owners?
Okay. I put together a 45-day plan for follow-up. Prior to coaching, prior to the live feed from last year, I was a terrible follow-upper. I had clients for 8 years that I'd never spoken with in 8 years. And so I put together a follow-up plan so that like when I make my first call, if I have to leave a message, I leave both a voice message. I do the same thing, a quick video thanking them and telling them why I called. Then the second day or day 0, I still make a second call. And then I have a chart, and I don't have it in front of me, but basically I have an Excel spreadsheet that I put the person's name in, and automatically I print it out, and it has what's happening on day 3, day 5, actually has the date in there. So I do things like I'll drop off a seller's disclosure. I will go over and drop off an actual contract, purchase and sales agreement, talk to the person and go through the fact that it's a legal document, and if you do it for sale by owner, you may have to face signing something like that. It would be good to have some familiarity with it. I use the Cloud CMA for doing a market analysis. That device, most people think when you present it to them, because what we do is I do the whole thing. My wife puts them in plastic sheeting. We put it in a little binder. Not an expensive one, but a good-looking binder. And it looks like you've spent 3 weeks preparing that document. It probably takes 10 minutes. And so that goes over, I guess, around day 10 or something like that. Then I have videos. I have mailing a Starbucks card. I have a postcard. I have all this good stuff in there. I have some KCM articles that I send on why not a FISBO.
Keeping current matters. Yeah, keeping current matters. Good. Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah. So it's very successful. And people fall into line. Okay. I also got, interestingly enough, when I started calling my old database, several people, a couple of the first ones said, "Gee, it's nice to hear from you. We just bought a new home yesterday," or something like that. A lesson learned. Okay. Yeah. The Realtor.com leads, I started adding them. I said, now I have 5 places. And I found the other thing I should mention is that one of the reasons I'm having such a great year is I entered that contest that Tom had for all expense paid trip to California for that elite retreat out there.
Yes, yes.
And I was going to be a winner. So I got into that contest. I worked my tail off. Had over 1,000 conversations. I just knew I would be in the top 5. I wasn't. I wasn't anywhere near it. But I had whiteboards filled, just absolutely filled with leads, both listing leads, selling leads. My business was starting to pick up. And my first 3 months were very, very good. And month of June, I like to tell everybody, I made more in the month of June in commissions than I made all of last year.
God, that's great.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's great.
Yeah, it's been exciting.
Hey, Ed, question on the for sale by owners. I want to stick with this just for a second before we pop over to the online leads. How long does it typically take you before you get a legitimate listing appointment with them on average?
A listing appointment where I'm actually going to get a listing signed?
Where you're going to sit down and you're going to discuss. I mean, you dropped off the CMA, you've sent them the Starbucks card, you've done the video. At what point? Is it 4 weeks? Is it 5 weeks?
No, I would say the average is right around 3 weeks before they're ready. Yeah, and I have got some people that have been holding out, for 6 weeks. But I'm still communicating with them, and we've almost built a relationship. I usually get a preview appointment when I first talk to the FISBO people. I love the script. I have to be a genius in my area where I have people looking for homes. I'd like to know about your home. Is it okay if I ask you some questions? I'm bobbling it a little bit here. I'm usually a little more on script. So I usually get a preview appointment, and usually at the end of that preview appointment, I talk a little bit about I think the line we use is, I was planning on coming over here and I've got some information for you, but this is such a great home. I would love to be the person to sell it. And I can show you how you have a financial advantage to using me to sell your home. That's worked a couple times to start. Brilliant. So get a listing really quick. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. So on average, though, the expectation is about 3 weeks, and you're communicating with them how often? How, like, in those, on a weekly basis? Are they hearing from you one time by the phone, 2 times by the phone?
Well, they're hearing from me at least 3 times a week initially. And it's phone, it's video, it's drop off, it's sending an article, an email article, it's texting. And it's just kind of checking in to see how things are going. I offer my help so that, like, when I deliver the contract, I say there's some areas you should be familiar with, and I'd like to just show you what these are. And I also like to point out that this it's a very legal document. I've had a lot of training in preparing these legal documents, so keep that in mind when a buyer comes in and tries to get you to sign something.
Brilliant.
So I really like the FISBOs. I like the FISBO callings. Yeah. So,
I could see that fitting your personality so well, because you are such a service-based individual. Like you want to help, you want to assist. When we talked about you doing this, you said, oh my gosh, I'd love to be able to assist, anyone. And if my story or my strategies help, gosh, I would love that. So how many for sale by owners have you listed this year?
6.
6. Excellent.
Yeah.
When did you start?
Maybe 2.5, 3 months ago, maybe.
So
I've had about 2 a month. Yeah.
So you've listed 2 for sale by owners a month. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, my coach told me when we were talking about the money and the income and stuff, and I hadn't really started the FISBOs yet. He said, have you figured out, based on my, my average commission, all that kind of stuff, if you just had 1 FISBO a month for the next 12 months, how much money is that? And I said, that's a lot of money. So that's why I started with the FISBOs. Yeah.
What do you think is the big mistake that agents make when working for sell by owners, in your opinion?
Follow up. I think they give up too soon. I think when I first started, I was really very reluctant to call somebody that just went on the market that day, because I felt it was too early to call them. But I find that that hasn't been the case. In some cases, it just established a relationship. In other cases, I wound up with a preview appointment because I do sell in that market. So I do have people looking in that market. So I'm not making anything up when I say, I may have a client, and that's one of the reasons I want to come in there. So but I think the follow-up, initially when I started doing it, I wasn't doing very good follow-up with them either. And then this happened with the more expensive one, at least in my industry, my area, more expensive. I said, I need to make sure that I communicate with this guy. So
45 days, strategy in place. I mean, and it's just I just absolutely adore this. Video. You are you're shooting video, you're sending content out. I mean, we've got people, Ed, that are half your age that are worried about how they look, and oh my gosh, but you love video, man. And does it work?
Yeah, you still think I'm old, but I'm not old, You
are young, my brother, dude. My challenge to you is this, man. Sell your age, right? So, we do 30 this year, next year we do 77. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Yeah.
So that as you get older, as you keep getting older, you keep selling more homes. So.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you something I did do. I think I told this to you too. That when I first enrolled and I texted Tom Ferry and said I'm in, and he texted back and said send a picture. I sent a picture, and in that tweet was a tweet a year before Summit. I said save me a seat on stage for Summit. And I wound up on stage at Summit, and that was just a thrilling experience to be able to be up there and do that. And I got so many comments from people afterwards because of my age that they were inspired by it. So I just don't feel like I'm going to when I get to be 100, I'm going to decide whether I want to retire or not. And my bride of 54 years feels the same way. She's now my administrative assistant. Got her license, and my daughter now joined us, and she's going to be the social media person. And she's volunteering her services at this point. So Go ahead. You guys are growing. I'm not sure if you saw this or not. I was leading a sales edge in Sacramento, and there was a woman by the name of Virginia. She was 101 years old in the front row. 101. And she had to leave the first day early, and I thought, oh, she's got to go take a nap. And she came back the next day, and she goes, did you have to go
just relax after all this excitement of Sales Edge? And she said, oh no, I had a listing presentation that I had to go to. I'm like, yes.
See, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm not old. I'm
You're not
an old
man.
person, yeah.
Not at all. And I'm not referring to that at all, man. So, hey, dude, so here we are. I love the For Sale Banner program, 45 days. Call 2 times the first day, video, second call, drop off sales disclosures, contract. I love the cloud CMA. You're giving value to them and expecting in 3 weeks, hey, I'm a list. But not everyone is motivated, right, Ed? Not everyone is highly motivated to sell that you're reaching out to, I'd imagine as well, too, that are For Sale Banners. Do you find that?
Yeah, I think a lot of people shy away. The other thing, in fact, I told my coach a couple of weeks ago that some of the other agents I've talked to, and I've seen some of it, you call a FSBO that's been on the market 3 days and they've already got 3 offers because that's the environment we're in. But there's a lot of FSBOs that aren't doing that. There's a lot of FSBOs that don't even advertise that they'll work with agents and stuff like that. So I think when I started initially calling, I was, if somebody said no, took me a little while to get over the rejection, let's put it that way. But my wife's a numbers person, and she, you got to call 20 to get 3 to get 1 to get, and like Tom says, I'm an artist and I married, and what's the word I want?
Operator. You married
an operator. Yeah, she's an operator. All right. Yes. Yeah. I think I mentioned to she's a very successful business lady too. She has driven and earned 16 pink Cadillacs with the Mary Kay organization. So
hold on, 16 pink Cadillacs that she's earned. Holy cow, man! Yeah. That is incredible.
Trips all over the world. I've been all over the world with Mary Kay trips, and that's a great company, by the way. And
great training, great sales organization. Yes, my sister-in-law is involved in them. We got to get them together. I got to get her together with it. Yeah. But hey, rule number 1. Marry the right woman, because everything else hinges upon that, my friend.
That's right. Okay, I agree with that.
Yeah. So, hey, let's talk online lead generation. Okay. So this is one of your primary sources of business. Am I correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. How much business do you think that you'll do this year? How many homes do you think you'll sell from that niche of the business?
I would say more than half of the homes will come from that.
So at least 15.
At least 50%. Yeah, 15 homes. Yeah.
15 homes. Yeah. Okay, cool. So are you? I heard you mention Realtor.com. What are the sources of online leads that you're using?
Well, like I said, I was on a team for a while, and he used a program called TorchX. He was on Boomtown. He switched to a new CRM. I get leads from there. I've got 5 Realtor.com locations. I do some Facebook advertising. I've gotten a couple potential listings from there, but not a lot of solid. I've got listings that it isn't worth the amount of money to go drive to the house to, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And that's another thing I had to learn. And I think this is a really very important for me specifically, was being an artist. I like to be friendly and nice and help everybody. Okay. So I would be spending time with people that wanted to see all these homes that I didn't yet ask if they even had a lender. Were they pre-qualified to buy it? Were they ready to sign a brokerage agreement? I had a case today with somebody that I worked with an entire year, and I sent him an email and said, are you still looking? And she said, no, we figured out that our house will be paid off in 5 years, so we're going to wait. But I put a lot of mileage on my automobile, without asking right up front, whether they're ready to go. And so the qualification of leads is something that I'm still learning, but it's there. You hear people say, I wouldn't talk to anybody unless we met in the office and they signed an agreement. I take the lawyer approach as you have 1 free consultation. And then after that, it's, again, that's my coach drilling the whole professional thing in it, because I had a tendency initially to drop everything I'm doing to go show a house. And my mornings now have become sacred.
Yeah. So let's talk about, I want to come back to that mornings becoming sacred.
All right.
But so what is the secret that you found? I mean, 15 transactions this year are going to come from your online lead generation. How have you been successful with this? What are the 2 or 3 components that you feel people need to be doing, or that you found that you do, that truly make you effective at this area?
Okay, the main component is instant callback. If I'm in my car and I get a Realtor.com lead, I'll pull over and call them and let them know that I'm not in my computer, but, and find out who they are. I get them qualified from the standpoint of on Realtor.com. It's amazing the number of people on there that already have an agent. And I always say, if you already have an agent, why are you searching? That's what your agent should be doing for you, And I've gotten some people that, you go further, they don't have a signed contract with an agent, that just have to be somebody that has shown them a couple houses. I got a couple of those.
It's such it's such like a little bump in the road, and that people get stopped, like from open houses to online leads. They walk in, oh, I'm already working with an agent, and agents stop at that point. And you're saying, hey, ask a couple more questions, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're, that's critical.
Yeah, and you don't stop at that point. And I think Tom's last show, I think it was, this week's I saw, but last week's was the one where he talked about giving up too early, having all this money, you're losing more money than you're making type thing. And I think giving up too early is what causes that to happen. The follow-up plans, I think, are really very critical. That's successful in FSBOs. It's successful with online stuff as well. But the online people, I have to be more careful that they're ready to do something. And I found with like Boomtown leads and even these Torch X leads, a lot of those people, it's the first time they're kicking a tire, and they're not ready. In fact, I had some come back that I called that had been on my lead list there for 18 months, and suddenly they say, "Hey, funny you called. We're getting ready to do something. Let's talk." So.
Yeah. I think the stat is it's anywhere from 10 to 12 months that the average online lead, Boomtown, Zillow, whatever. Well, Zillow's a little bit quicker, but they're just starting their search. So I wrote down 4 things. I said, number 1, you said instant callback, right?
Yes.
Speed to lead. So it's good to have that reinforced. Number 2, ask more questions. Don't stop with those fundamental basic objections. If they say, I've already got an agent, well, that's interesting that you're searching online. Your agent should be doing that, and then just continue to dig a little bit. Number 3, strong follow-up plan, right? For those that are motivated. And number 4 was, you've got to make sure that you're spending time with the right people and that they're qualified and that their time frame fits yours to be able to actually make sure that you're not wasting time. Right. What is your follow-up plan? What is, like, let's say you have someone that's somewhat motivated, fits your time frame, your criteria in relationship to an online lead. What's the follow-up plan there? Is it similar to buy owners or different?
I was going to say it's different from for sale by owners because it doesn't exist that much yet. My follow-up plan would be to schedule on the CRM, call them in a week or call them in 10 days, that type of thing. But I don't have really a plan, sequential plan like I have for the FSBOs for that. I should add too, by the way, my first 2 sales this year, both which were good ones, were online leads, and they sold within 60 days of the online lead coming on. So it's not always, a year and a half away, and it's not always people that aren't really ready to do something. So.
Yeah. You got to find that out. Hey, your coach is Tom Pavetti. Is that right?
No, it's Tyler Webb.
Tyler Webb. That's right. Hey, Tyler, hope you're watching. We need an online lead follow-up program from Ed immediately, brother. That's the next stage. Okay. So, brother, always in such a good mood. Always so, vibrant. Where did we meet first? Wasn't it Sales Edge in Atlanta at Did we meet at Sales Edge at Atlanta?
Yes, yeah, we did. Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
That's where I learned how to, jump up and down. And even though I had leg problems at the time, I was jumping up and down.
Oh my gosh, I remember that. You're Bruce Lee, right? So how do you? One of the things that I always like to discuss in these interviews is, what is your morning ritual? Because you are always on, always excited, always smiling. You walk into the room and just you have this amazing energy. What do you do to create that in the morning? Because you said your mornings are sacred. Yes.
Well, I have Miracle Mornings for, I have that book, Miracle Mornings for Real Estate Agents. I did, before that, I had kind of my own schedule of what that morning looked like. Tom always talked about, if it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist. I never had a calendar until 12 months ago. I never kept a calendar. I'm married to a woman that keeps calendars for everything, you know, so she now keeps my calendar and emails it to me and all that kind of stuff. I start in the morning with the meditation thing, devotion. I have a small book for devotionals that I use. I do the visualizations. I do my affirmations. I do them the night before and in the morning. I say them out loud, and I get excited with them sometimes. I read, and as soon as I left wasn't at the first summit. As soon as the first summit finished, I went out and ordered all the books that Tom had recommended. And this latest one, actually, I don't think he did recommend it in one of his videos, the past couple, but because I was on stage, I got it as a gift. Do work less and do more, or whatever.
Work less, do more. Brilliant book. Yeah, absolutely.
Unbelievable book. And that whole chapter on the brain and you know, establishing and virtual assistants and how I can stop anything, any emails that come in that have an unsubscribe on it, hide them someplace. I was just getting exciting reading it. So I do that. I don't exercise yet because I did have some leg surgeries and I can't get back on the treadmill. I'm missing one. There's a sixth one. What did I miss?
I think you got them all, man.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Yeah. But you know, I'm wearing a shirt and tie. I'm sitting in my office in my home. Okay. One of the things I started shortly after I got a coach, it wasn't his suggestion, but I come from an age when you went to your job, you had a suit and tie on. You know, even on Fridays. I remember when the Dress Down Friday started, there were a lot of people like me that said, come on, this is a business, you know. But rather than sit here in my pajamas and do my phone calls, which I had been doing, I get up in the morning, I go through my miracle mornings, I do my reading, I have my breakfast, I get showered, shaved, dressed, shirt and tie, get pumped up, do my, you know, several times. First time I did that, my wife came in wanting to know if everything was all right. So that's how I get myself excited. And, you know, I look at my possibilities. I look at the people that I've helped in homes. You know, I can't tell you how excited that summit experience kept me, because most, if not all of the comments I got after it had nothing to do with, oh, we enjoyed it, or we got some laughs, or that type of stuff. They all liked my closing quote of fear destroys more dreams than failures ever can.
Hey, so Ed, I want them to hear that quote again about fear because it's so powerful. Could you just say that again for everyone?
Sure. Fear kills more dreams than failures ever could.
Fear kills more dreams than failures ever could.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, what I started to say too was that the people that came up to me afterwards, they all wanted selfies and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it was a fun experience, but most of them said that they were inspired by what I had to say. And some of them were older, you know, a couple of them were older than I am, but I think you reach a certain age when you think there's nothing left for you. You know, you kind of relax, you retire, you go away and you die someplace, you know. And for lots of reasons, I didn't want to do that. And so I had people come up and say, you know, I'm going to go home and I'm going to make it happen, you know, all that kind of stuff. And all the years we were in Mary Kay, I was Andrea's husband. They would shove me aside and get selfies with her. So I got even with her at the summit. They shoved her aside and they take pictures with me, you know, and it was just a whole fun experience.
And she got to be Ed's wife versus...
Absolutely,
you know,
yeah. They don't know her name. She's Ed's wife. And, you know, we had selfies in the airport when we left Las Vegas on a red-eye special. People in Atlanta got off the plane and wanted a selfie at 6 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't button my shirts. My head was getting so big. So,
well, you know what, Ed, you deserve it, because what you did at Summit and what you're doing right now really is an inspiration. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. People get in there, and age has nothing to do with it. I mean, I know people that are 30 years old and they might as well be dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're 76 and you got more life than a lot of 20, 30-year-old individuals that I know. And that's inspiring to see you on video, to see you crushing it with online lead generation. You know, when you could have any excuse. and you're moving forward faster than a lot of individuals most individuals inside the ecosystem, which is very, very exciting. So if you had the opportunity to leave these guys with 3 thoughts, just 3, okay, to guarantee that they succeed, what would those 3 things be?
It would be have a scheduled morning, do the miracle mornings, which I think is extremely valuable. It would be read the motivational material, get excited, don't feel awkward when you rub your hands together and scream and yell, you know, and I loved in Tom's video on mindset, when he said, you know, put your hands out like this, big smile on your face, get depressed, you know. Yes. I did that every time he did it. And that mindset thing, and I've told people this before, I still watch that every morning. When I first saw it, I started and I watch it every day of the week before I start my work, because it just is so right on with the attitudes and all that kind of stuff. And the other thing I would say is have systems. You know, like a FSBO follow-up or an online follow-up or a daily schedule. When are you going to do your hours of power? One of the things that came up at Summit that I loved was, I can't remember the guy's name, but when he had a calendar, I had a calendar that had empty spaces in it, but his calendar had the word appointment. And so it was so much easier when somebody said, when I was ready to try to go for an appointment, I would say, I have 2 or 4 o'clock open, which is best for you. Or if somebody said, you know, can you come at 10 in the morning? I still say, I have 2 or I have 4 open, or I could come tomorrow, which is best for you. So it just clicked all of a sudden, you know, and I think the communication that goes on the website is fantastic. Your stuff is fantastic. Before we did this presentation, I watched several of them again to see what I was going to have to say and answer, you know, so it's all there. I mean, it's all there. And I've had 5 people that are in my same brokerage firm I'm in ask for my time, which obviously I give it to them, but they want to talk about what they should be doing, you know, and my first answer is always the same: get a coach. I just can't emphasize, and I'm not a salesperson for the Tom Ferry organization, okay? From that standpoint, I'm not getting paid to say this, let's put it that way. I said that's the best thing I've ever done. And when I do my budget, the very first item is going to be my investment item, which is in my coach. And I just, you know, we hit it off well. He holds me accountable, and I'm doing stuff that if I didn't have him there checking on me every week, so it might be a little bit different. You know. Yeah. By the way, I didn't share with you that lead that I transferred to Alabama is a multi-million-dollar lead.
Nice.
Yeah, that is nice. Yeah.
That is very good. So you may not get the $3.4 million that they get in California, but you know what? You get the $1 million and it comes back.
This is probably more like a $5 million, actually. So it's, yeah.
So there you go. Yes, there you go, man. So, brother, I just have to say thank you. You know, honest to goodness, for so many things. Number one, for just the great information and content that you give, both on stage at Summit for the panel and also here for all the viewers that are watching and listening. I have pages and pages of notes that I've taken just to go back and that I want to use with some of the coaching clients. So you have contributed to me and always have been an inspiration, as I'm sure you are for everyone who's watching this. And if they want to send you referrals, because you're the first person from Atlanta that we've had, how do they get a hold of you? How do they get those great referrals over to you?
Well, they can go on hopefully they can do it on the app. I should be on there. They could send it to my email, which is simple, edconverse@gmail.com. We have a website, the Converse team website. Communicate your information's there. And, you know, one of the things I want to say about referrals real quick, okay, I did my first one at Summit because it was such a big amount of money. I was meeting with Tom and I asked him about whether I should refer it or not, because part of me thought I won't move to Alabama, but I'll get a residual license over there so I can do it myself. And we discussed what it was. And he said, refer it. And so I referred it. And my wife and I went over there last week to meet with that agent. She was so much on top of it. It was commercial land we're talking about. She had done all this stuff. I sat there thinking, there's no way in God's green earth I could have ever done that or sold this property. But I'm going to get a good hit from it. So
you're going to get a really good hit. And that's, Ed, you're evolving, which is always very exciting. No matter what age you are, you're evolving from single agent. You're now building the team. You got your daughter coming on doing social media. Your wife is helping out. Where do I see you in 5 years? Where are you, Ed Converse, in 5 years when it comes to business and production?
The Converse team in 5 years will be in the $5+ million range. And in 10 years, we're going to have a business that we can sell for a good chunk of change.
I love it.
That's our goal.
And then what? What new career will you find next, right?
I'll go minister to old people.
Go inspire them. We need to tap into that.
Right.
Yeah. Tap into that community. Yeah. Well, brother man, thank you so much. Really appreciate you and just love you to death, and I'm grateful for you. So thanks for your time. Hey, Real Success Nation, you guys need to go back and watch this. This is inspiring and also content rich. So, Ed, thank you very much from all of us at the Tom Ferry organization for just who you are. And for those of you that are interested in finding a coach, coming to an event, remember, visit us at tomferry.com. That's tomferry.com, so that you can find out about any of the ways that we can support you, like Ed has talked about. And watch the Tom Ferry Show. Come back to these. Most importantly, guys, stay inspired. Ed, why don't you leave them with one last thing, and we're out of here, man.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you. I want to thank you and Tom both. I have felt nothing but encouragement and excitement because of you guys in this business. And I just encourage everybody to get that involved. Go out on a limb. Go get out of your comfort zone. I'm out of my comfort zone, even on this presentation. So, that's all. I just love it.
I love it, brother. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. Awesome. So, guys, thanks again. We will speak to you in the next Real Success. In the meantime, hey, game on. Go get them. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks again. Thank you, Ed.